My husband and I, along with our children, visited Tabernacle about 15 years ago. We were absolutely drawn immediately to the people, to the sense of family that we felt here. But ultimately, my husband and I, what really spoke to us was the music. But James and I had always been very musical, and so it didn't surprise me at all that God would use music to speak to my heart specifically. There was one song that ministered to my heart more than any other song at the time, and that was called "The Power of Your Love." And the words of the song go something like this: "Hold me close, let your love surround me, bring me near, draw me to your side." And that was my prayer at the time. I wanted to be closer to him than I ever had been. That was something that was very new to me. We ended up joining the church. My family loved it. I ultimately joined the music ministry through no circumstance of coincidences, and we were very, very happy. I loved the people I ministered with. I loved singing, but God has a way of growing you even when you don't think you know it, and sometimes it isn't pretty. After several years on the music team, and the music team undergoing several changes, I felt my heart beginning to change as well. It puzzled me because I felt that worship became very commonplace. I couldn't believe that God would use the one thing I love and change it into something that really didn't make me very happy anymore. So not understanding at all what God was having me do, but still trying to be faithful and obedient, I made the hardest decision of my life. I took a step back from the music ministry. I thought that I would be very happy to take that step back because I finally felt like I would get some peace with the inner turmoil that had been going on in my life. But I could not have been more wrong. I did try other ministries, but my heart just wouldn't heal. I knew there must be something in this message, but I literally could not figure out what it was. But another thing started to happen at the time. I not only began pulling away from everything, I stopped going to church at all. And I felt like I could justify it because I was still technically in the Word. I was doing my Bible studies, I was praying, I was listening to worship music, I was doing everything that I thought I should do, but it just became too difficult to go to church. But that took me away from my fellowship of believers and my accountability with my friends. I was just broken. I felt like an unusable, broken piece of pottery. And my brokenness continued for 3 years. One Sunday morning, I was reading a self-help book, and I was listening to the radio, and the same song that had drawn me to the Lord so long ago, "The Power of Your Love," came on the radio. Only a different verse struck my heart, and this time the verse was, "Lord, renew my mind as your will unfolds in my life." And I stopped right there, and I said that prayer to the Lord because I knew that if I could say that prayer, "Lord, renew my mind as your will unfolds in my life," and mean it, then He would absolutely reveal His will, and He did. Very quickly after I said that prayer, 2 things happened. The first thing was that I realized I had been really good at worshiping the Lord when my life was going great, and I had been really lousy at it when things were going really bad. And I also realized that worship, true worship, will get you through some of the toughest times in your life, because what it does is it shifts your focus from the problem to the problem solver. And then I decided to stop reading self-help books and let the Lord put the pieces of my broken pottery back together. And that can be a scary journey, because when you're putting your pieces back together, you want the world to see you as unmarred. You want the world to see you as perfect. But when the Lord starts putting the pieces back together, suddenly you realize that you're scarred, that there are cracks. And I realize now that my cracks would show. But I also realized that through those cracks, others could see Him pouring out through me. And it was as if He audibly said to me, "Jacqui, I chose the cracks. I chose you. Now worship me." So I do, but not just through music. Worship can never be just singing. It must be an overflow of your heart straight to His. So I also worship with my actions, my prayer, my job, my tithes. I worship with anything that could let others see that He is where I find my identity. Let Him tell you who you are in Him. Psalm 40, 1-3 has spoken so much to me in this journey. I waited patiently for the Lord. He returned to me and heard my cry. He lifted me out of the slimy pit out of the mud and mire. He set my feet on a rock and gave me a firm place to stand. He put a new song in my mouth, a hymn of praise to our God. Many will see it and fear the Lord and put their trust in Him. So my prayer is that if you're struggling, don't give up. Let yourself be reminded of the grace that seals all of our cracks, and let Him help you rebuild. Because after all, you are His most precious possession. Ultimately, my lesson wasn't about music at all, but finding my voice, His voice. My name is Jacqui Rejeck, and I've been saved by grace.